So in this video, guys, we're going to be talking about the Scrum Master service to the other Scrum roles and to the organization as a whole, all right? Let's start talking about the product owner. What does the Scrum Master do to help the product owner succeed? Well, the first thing that he does is as soon as he identifies that the product owner doesn't understand how to create, how to maintain, and how to manage a product backlog effectively, you as a Scrum Master should step up and help your product owner, mentor your product owner to accomplish that. All right? So that's why I always recommend Scrum Master to attend a CSPO training. One other thing, another service that you as a Scrum Master do to your product owner is you need to help the product owner understand that the impact of planning happens not only top down, but also bottom up. So whatever happens at a sprint planning level may eventually impact what he has planned at a release planning level. All right? So that's a premise to start working with Scrum. Another service to the product owner would be the Scrum Master helping the product owner to understand that the team will eventually have questions during the sprint. So we need to be constantly refining the product backlog. So the product owner needs to have time. So block his or her agenda, in order to meet with the dev team and perform and make the backlog refinement happen. Maybe once a week, maybe twice a week, all right? Maybe twice a sprint, maybe once a sprint, depending on the length of the sprint, all right? So the product owner needs to be aware that he has to have time to participate in these meetings. So the definition of ready is a very important definition that a Scrum Master needs to come up with an agreement between the product owner and the dev team. All right? So that's the definition of ready. We're going to be using the definition of ready in our refinement meetings to make sure that the PBIs are ready to go into a sprint. Regarding the service of the Scrum Master towards the development team, the Scrum Master functions as a coach to the team. So what does it mean? The Scrum Master needs to understand the level of maturity of the team. So in every sprint retrospective, the Scrum Master is going to be using the retro as a Kaizen moment, as a checkpoint to understand what's the level of maturity that my team has right now. What can I do as a Scrum Master to improve cohesiveness, to improve maturity, to improve awareness about how we are, where we are, and where we want to go. All right? So you need to use the retro as an effective meeting, not as a traditional lessons learned. A lot of people think that the retrospective is a lessons learned. It's not, all right? So avoid, like the plague, avoid going to a retro and asking what was good, what was well, what should we start doing, stop doing. No, you use Scrum patterns to conduct effective retrospectives. We're going to have other videos talking about the Scrum patterns, so stay tuned to that. Now, the service to the organization, training company executives. You need to have the minimum authority that is necessary for you to come up to your company executive, to business areas, and train them to make sure that you are creating a safe environment for your Scrum team. Training company executives means that they need to understand how Scrum operates, and those that are doing Scrum will be eventually interfacing with others that are not doing Scrum. This interaction between the Scrum teams and other areas that are not necessarily using Scrum may cause interruptions during the sprint, may cause the product owner to put more pressure on the team. So you need to train business areas. You need to make sure that your company executives understand that their business, the business administration, general management today is facing a tipping point, and they need to understand that. Scrum is the tip of the iceberg. Those doing Scrum are not the only ones that are going to be affected by Scrum. Anyone interfacing with them will be affected by Scrum. So eventually, you will need to provide alternatives to the budgeting process, alternatives to metrics, to the way people report projects. For example, you got to work towards your PMO, maybe coach your PMO if you have a PMO in your company, all right? To help them understand the role of the PMO in the 21st century. And that will be all for now. Stay tuned for more videos about the Scrum Master and let's hit the ground running.